welcome back to the Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, my name's Morgan, and I love talking all things reality TV, and today, Shark Tank is finally back from its little holiday hiatus that it was on, and we are here to talk about episode 10 of season 15. Before we can talk about the new Shark Tank, though, I gotta take you back in time to last season. Season 14, and the company Stealth Bros & Co. Stealth Bros & Co. is one of my favorite pitches from last year. If you don't believe me, you can go check out my Wrapped video for season 14 and see for yourself how much I loved them. The business was started by Braxton, who's a trans man, and was looking for a way to store his vials and needles more organized, and so he came up with these great little dop kits. I'll put some pictures up for you to see as a way to organize your stuff on the go or even at home, and I immediately loved this. I don't take testosterone, but back in the day, I used to do allergy shots, and let me tell you, trying to keep that stuff organized, especially on a trip, but even just at home, was a nightmare, and I wish I would have had some bags like this. It would have changed my entire life. I literally just had like a drawer of stuff that was, I hate thinking about it. It always made taking my shots horrible because I would look at this terrible drawer and just, I don't want to go back there, honestly. I don't need to go back there. I'm done taking those. That's past me now. But the bags don't have to even be used for medical purposes. They're great for all sorts of things with all their little pockets and all that. The little junior dop kits, perfect to put all your essentials in, put it in your purse, and that way when you need something out of it, you got it. And lucky for me, they reached out to me asking me if I would like a code to give all you a discount on all their wonderful products. So if you would like to support me and support a Black trans-owned business, use my code SBCMAX20 to get 20% off your purchase and, support your girl, Woo! Seriously though, I can't thank Stealth Bros & Co. enough for reaching out. They're like the perfect company for me to have my first sort of sponsorship deal with. I was so excited when they reached out, and I'm so happy to be working with them. And now, let's get into the newest episode of Shark Tank, shall we? Our sharks for the episode are Damon, Kevin, Lori, Mark, and guest shark Candace Nelson, founder of Sprinkles Cupcakes. Our first pitch of the night is FishWife. Becca walked into the tank looking for $350,000 for 4% of her canned fish business. Here it is, and yeah, a pretty self-explanatory one. It's just a premium version of canned or tinned fish. She says the core line is around $7.99, and it cost her $2.09 to make. So as usual, I always go to these companies' websites, I double check the prices, I see if anything's changed, I look around on the internet to find some things, and this one had me going down a rabbit hole that made filming this episode take so much longer than it usually does. I'm filming this at such a late hour compared to when I usually do, so if I start getting kind of like loopy at the end, you know why. Anyway, so obviously I don't know what the prices were before the day I looked, which is today, January 20th. So I have no idea what the prices were before, but I don't know where $7.99 existed at, because on her website, when you're buying them in the bundles, it ranges from about $10.50 to $11 a can. And then, for example, at my Whole Foods, which I was so shocked my Whole Foods actually had this, amazing, it was $14.99 or something like that for one can. One can of canned fish. 14. Just saying 14, saying double digits is like shocking to me, personally. I was also obviously perusing the Shark Tank Reddit because, of course, why wouldn't I be? And I saw other people saying that they've never seen it that cheap, so I would love to hear, like, where $7.99 came from at all. That was the first thing that sent me down a rabbit hole, was that price. Because for $7.99, that sounds pretty reasonable. $14.99 at my grocery store, though, I can't. No words. Moving on to sales, she started the business in 2021, and that year they did $750,000 in sales. In 2022, they did $2.6 million, and this year they're on track to do $5.8 million. It's about 50-50 direct-to-consumer and then retailers. Part of why she says she needs the money is because they're actually expanding in Whole Foods in April of 2024, so that's coming up. I have no idea if it's profitable. They didn't say or even allude to it. Part of me wants to say that I assume it is, but I hate assuming that just because the sales are high. Because again, we've seen businesses all the time where the sales are super high and then they're like, oh yeah, we're like $2 million in debt. So honestly, who knows? Not me. Not us, because I didn't say it. It's about time we dive into the sharks. We start off with Kevin, who thinks it's a commodity, and because of that, it's not something that he'd be interested in doing one of the regular equity deals for. Instead, he offers her the $350,000 as debt at 11% interest for 3 years, and he also wants a 5% equity stake.
You screw this up and you'll sleep with the fishes.
No, not the fishes!
Damon is also interested and decides to take a play out of Kevin's book and offers her $350,000 with a 15-cent royalty on every can sold in perpetuity. So no equity, just a royalty deal. Mark swoops in to clear out the deck. He says that she should be really proud of what she's done, but the business just isn't a fit for him, so he's out. But there are still more sharks interested. Candace says she wants to make a deal, but she doesn't want to do it alone. She wants to bring in the retail expert.
I'm doing it alone, sorry.
Obviously, she was not talking about Kevin. She was talking about her fellow girl boss, Lori. And, of course, this makes Lori, once again, for the second time in a row, she literally just did this last episode, she brings up her deal from last season, Bordery, and just like she did with Rebel Cheese, she talks about how this would be a perfect addition to their boards. Candace throws out the idea of the two women doing it together for $350,000 for 10%. Becca immediately goes to address the women, and we get a classic Kevin moment.
What am I, chopped sardine over here?
Becca says she's always wanting to bring more women investors to her cap table. I want to take a time out to point out that she hasn't brought up the fact that she has other investors at all during this pitch. To be fair, they didn't really ask about it, or if they did, it was edited out. You never know with these sort of things. But I just love her being like, yeah, with my other investors, and them just moving on. I have to hope that it was just edited out, but it's super weird for her to have investors and then them not ask, like, hey, like, how much money have they been putting in? There's usually follow-up questions to I have other investors, but whatever, Becca then decides to counter the ladies $350,000 for 6% and 2% advisory shares, and she makes a deal with Candace and Lori.
It's 3 fishwives now, not just one.
So I had to put that last little clip in. Number one, to bring back up again the fact that there is apparently more than one fishwife because you have other investors. But aside from that, something else I found out during my little rabbit hole dig is that there was another fishwife. Dun dun dun! So as I said, I was digging around just looking at normal information, and I was actually on Canned Fish Reddit. Didn't know it was a thing, but I was there reading some people talking about how good this canned fish is compared to other canned fish. And then all of a sudden, at the very bottom of this giant Reddit thread, I see an article about her suing her ex-co-CEO, and I'm like, what did I just stumble upon? So I'm going to read some things directly from this Business Insider article. I'll also have it linked down below if you want to go check it out for yourself and fall into this random rabbit hole that I did. So FishWife was started in December of 2020 with co-founders Rebecca Milstein, aka Becca, who I've been talking about, and Caroline Goldfarb. So these girls had been all over in like Vogue and New York Times, plastered together as the girls making canned fish hot girl food. That's the other thing we're going to talk about after. Those are the little things. Those are the mini rabbit holes, the side quests, after I got done with this quest. So since everybody knew them as a pair, it was kind of shocking to see just Becca on Shark Tank. So, of course, the internet did some digging, specifically a creator named Casey Lewis, and God bless her is all I gotta say. Casey started doing some digging, as we do on the internet, and she saw that Caroline didn't follow Becca anymore. She does still follow Fishwives, and Becca follows her, but Caroline doesn't follow Becca. Saucy, where's this gonna lead us? I'll tell you, don't worry. Being the hero that she is, she did not stop there. She did a little more digging and found out that in July, Fishwife sued Caroline. It seems like the main point of the lawsuit was to get Caroline out, claiming she didn't do as much work as Becca. Becca has devoted an average of more than 90 hours per week to growing the company, overseeing operations, hiring additional personnel, and building a respected brand. In contrast, Caroline Goldfarb worked for FishWife for less than a year and for no more than a few hours per week. That is a direct quote from the Business Insider article. The lawsuit claims that Goldfarb and her father were refusing to turn over access to the company's website, email, and cloud storage accounts in an attempt to get a bigger stake in the company. They claim that Goldfarb agreed in writing to accept 8.75% stake in the company, but reneged before the paperwork was finalized and ended up demanding 35%. FishWife then asked the court to rule that Goldfarb was only entitled to 8.75% and that she and her father should be ordered to turn over access to the company's Google email, storage account, website, all that good stuff. On August 11th, the case was dropped with prejudice, meaning it can't be refiled, and that probably means that they settled out somewhere, but there's no public documents about that. So now you can see how I went down such a large rabbit hole. I had no idea, and I never would have, honestly, if it weren't for that random post on Reddit. So shout out to them for posting that in the canned fish Reddit. Not even the Shark Tank one. That is not where I found it. I found it on canned fish Reddit. Gotta love the internet. And back to there's not one FishWife, there's 3 now. This article also tells us that she has 15 investors. I can't believe there was not more time spent on that. They really just breezed by that. I feel like there are questions. I have questions, especially because we don't know if she's profitable or not. I don't know. I smell something fishy. I discovered during this episode that canned fish is apparently just going super viral on TikTok. I had no idea. Candace tells us all about it at one point. And that sent me down another rabbit hole of looking at canned fish TikTok, and it's 100% real.
Hot girls eat tinned fish,
Hot
right?
girls eat tinned fish.
The main canned fish TikTok creator I could find was an account called Day with May, and I scrolled far too long. Again, it is far too late that I'm filming this because I just spent forever looking at all this stuff. I couldn't help myself. I was looking at all her different canned fish reviews, and honestly, it made me really want to put this product on my list of ones to try so I can do a canned fish tryout. I've never had canned fish, y'all. I've never really even thought about it. I've thought about tuna in a can, you feed to a cat, but I hadn't really even thought of nice canned fish. I knew conceptually it was a thing, but I guess I've just never, I don't know. Because the other thing about it is I only eat fish. I'm a pescatarian. I don't know why I hate that word so much, but I am. So I don't really know why I've never gotten into canned fish, but this has convinced me that maybe I need to. And I think that sums up all the little side quests I did. I told y'all about the pricing that was way different than what she said in the tank, the lawsuit, and canned fish talk. So we learned a lot today, I hope, together. Nope, wait, there was one more I forgot about because it was the least of all of them, but I found out the person who did all of their art for their packaging has also done some work for a different Shark Tank company, Ouroboros, which I just thought was hilarious because I love Ouroboros' art style. It looks like he may have only done a couple GIF projects for them, some little animated short videos. But still, I just thought that was so funny to have the Shark Tank connection randomly there. And again, I also just found this out by accident. I don't know why I kept finding random things about this company. Moving on. I guess I'll give some final thoughts, even though I kind of gave them throughout. But just number one, it's crazy expensive. I was like, oh, if this is at my own Whole Foods, I'll just go get it there. I won't get it shipped to me. No, I'm not paying $14.99 for one can of it. No, I'm going to get one of those stupid little pack things and do it that way, which I guess, makes them more money and is good for I don't know. I'm just still really upset that a canned thing of fish is $14.99. And from the other canned fish people that I saw on Reddit, they were all saying that this is just an astronomical price. And there were different opinions on the taste. Again, I haven't had it, so I can't say anything. But there were various opinions about it. I think the rest of this video and the businesses are normal. So I knew I would spend way too much time talking about FishWives, but there was just so much I discovered. I couldn't not share it all. Like, that would just be wrong of me. Hi. Hello. Do you have some feelings about Shark Tank? Oh, are you okay? Have a little cough? Okay. Our second pitch of the night is Dingle Dangle. Stuart walked into the tank looking for $75,000 for 20% of his toy that helps you change your baby's diaper. Here it is. Pretty much it's just a headband with a little attachment and a toy that is supposed to help distract your baby and make the whole diaper changing process smoother and happier for everyone involved. But wait, there's more. You can also detach the toy and use one of their little mounts to make it a mobile on the go. On top of that, you can switch out what toy is in it, and using the other toy, you can make it your baby's first rattle. We love a multifunctional girly. It retails for $40 and it costs him about $15 landed. I want to point out that it actually comes with the headband, the little stick, the octopus toy, the puffer fish, the mount, and a travel bag. I definitely assumed it would just be the headband and the one toy for $40, so I was actually kind of, impressed to see it's like a full kit for $40, so good for them in my personal opinion. They started in 2022 and sold $67,000 worth of product, but unfortunately they just completely sold out in about 2 months. Now, in 2023, they've done around $40,000 in sales, and they're projecting to end the year with $180,000. And we have a for sure profitable company this time. In 2022, their first year, they lost $32,000, but this year, they're planning to make $10,000 to $15,000 off of the $180,000, which some people may say isn't a lot, but it's not nothing and it's not debt, which we'll get into with somebody else later. Anyway, foreshadowing. This time, the sharks do ask about what he's put in and all that, and we find out he's put in $150,000 of his own money. Kevin asks the first and most important question.
Just one question, though. What about the dork factor?
Damon then gives us this moment of being like, no, look how cool this is to wear to the club. And he's just such a dork. It is so funny.
How you been? No more, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up later. Let's Cal, give me some, baby boy.
Wow, it's even cool.
Mark then asks a serious question, which is, where is the cash going? Because Mark feels like with a business like this, with the margins he's at, he should be making more money. Stuart says the classic line of, it's all going back into the business. Kevin then pops back into normal Shark Tank mode and asks the classic question of, why does he need a shark? And he gives a classic answer of saying he needs their connection and their marketing strategies. And on top of all that, he's really interested in getting into licensing and gives this hilarious line to Mark that killed me.
How many other products can you put the Dallas Mavericks logo and introduce that to a baby at day one?
Mark is still really concerned about where is the money going, and Stuart points out that they are at least projected to be profitable. They're not losing money, and hopefully if they continue to scale, they'll continue to scale their profitability as well. Unfortunately though, that does not seem to be enough for the sharks, and they slowly all go out one by one. First we have Kevin, who says that his biggest problem is he doesn't have a baby. He says that all of his kids are grown and this just really isn't the space for him, so he's out. Mark thinks it's a really fun product, but he just doesn't see the business being able to scale to a point that makes his investment really worth it, and he's out. Damon decides to steal Lori's line of, it's a great business for you, but not investable for me. Lori then has to come up with something different and talks about how she just thinks the market is too small and that's why she's not interested. Candace was really interested in the sensory benefits that a toy like this could offer. She talked about how it could benefit occupational therapists for children, and we find out she actually does do some work in the early childhood development space. But once he started talking about licensing, she was no longer interested and she goes out, meaning that he might leave the tank without a deal. But Stuart decides to throw a Hail Mary and asks if anybody would reconsider. This usually doesn't work, but he gets Kevin back on the line.
Stu, The Mr. Wonderful in me, and I love love, I love children, love family, but I also love royalties.
He's about to dangle a royalty in front of you.
I can't help myself.
Kevin decides to offer him one of his famous royalty deals and offers him the $750,000 for 20% equity and a royalty of $1 per unit. The minute Kevin says that, Stewart immediately jumps on it and says, deal. You got it, deal. However, as Kevin's walking up to do the big hug, oh boy, we made a deal, Damon asks the question that I'm wondering, which is, so when does this royalty end? Kevin is like, oh, it's obviously in perpetuity. Like, that's the only way I would do this. Stewart, however, though, is like, oh, I just thought you wanted to get your money back because you had said you were worried about getting your money back, so I kind of assumed that's when this was going to end. So...
Let me finish the offer, Stu.
So they do a little reset, and Kevin agrees that he would be willing to get rid of the royalty after he's paid back $500,000.
$500,000?
Come
Yeah,
on.
for a $75K investment.
Stewart tries countering, paying back $150,000, but Kevin just says that is not exciting enough for him.
Tomorrow morning I have to wake up and say, what? I did Dingle Dangle?
Stewart tries countering again, $250,000. Kevin is still not having it, but agrees to go down to $300,000, and they end up making a deal for $75,000 for 20% equity and a royalty of $1 per unit until he's paid back $300,000. Love when they're a little mouthful. Unfortunately, there's no, 15 minutes of me talking about random tea with this one. It's just a normal pitch. Sorry to burst everybody's bubble. So my final thoughts. Number one, I love products like this. I've said it before and I'll probably say it a million times more, but I love just a good, fun product like this. Like, I would definitely gift this to somebody I knew who was having a kid. It's adorable. It's fun. Like, it's a great gift, and that's what he's trying to go for, is a gift for dads. I especially loved the remark about getting them in on a football team from day one, or a basketball team or whatever. That made me chuckle. Like, I think it's a great idea. I don't know why Candace was against the licensing play. I think it's great. It's a gift for parents. Like, they want that sort of stuff on them, or putting characters that kids like he brought up, like doing like Peppa Pig or whatever. I don't get why that made Candace kind of back up from it all. I'm about it. I loved it. I think the offer from Kevin's kind of wild. I was kind of surprised he took it. I guess he really just wants that business expertise from someone, but paying back $300,000 on a $75,000 investment, I mean, again, better than $500,000. That was actually wild. That shocked me. I was too stunned to speak. I couldn't do it. I'm so glad he was able to negotiate that down some, because that was just, no, that wasn't it. Overall, fun product, reasonable ask. Like I always say, love a small business that tries to value itself well, and just a fun pitch. It brought me back to the Shark Tank days of old, and I always love pitches like that. So 10 out of 10 for Dingle Dangle. Yes, I am 5 and can't stop laughing when I say Dingle Dangle. That's so bad. It's just so silly. It's so silly. Anyway, our third pitch of the night is VibeRide. Carson, Charlie, and Chris walked into the tank looking for $250,000 for 10% of their skateboard with brakes. Once again, a pretty self-explanatory product. Pretty much, they wanted to be able to slow down without having to use the bottom of their foot, and voila! They sell the boards with brakes, or they also sell brake kits that you can attach to your own board. They also made little customized boards for all the sharks, which killed me. Fantastic. I know that's going in Mark's office. And what would Shark Tank be without a fun little demonstration where you may almost kill somebody? I mean, I'm just kidding, he probably wasn't gonna die, but still. So like I said, they sell skateboards with brakes already on them, and the brake kits by themselves, so the prices vary. And this is another one where the prices are not accurate necessarily to what they said in the tank. Let me just get into it. So in the tank, they said that the brake kit sold for $149. On their website, it's $229, but it's on sale for $147, which is close to $149, but also it's the sale price. But like so many of these websites, I have no idea if it's like actually on sale or if maybe they really did raise their prices and they're putting it on sale, so it's the Shark Tank prices, or if it's one of those fake, like, it's always on sale things. I have no idea. If you know, let me know. If you've bought one of these and saw that this just recently went on sale, let me know. But it always is something that I wonder about when I see these weird price discrepancies. In the tank, they talked about the different types of boards they had that ranged from $129 to $189. However, on their website at the moment, it looks like there's really only 2 different types of boards, kind of like a long board or the Founders series, and those are $229 as the sale price, and their normal price is $359. They also have the VibeRide Switch, which seems like a smaller, maybe like a more standard skateboard. I don't skateboard, sorry. And this one's sale price is $189, and it usually is $279. So again, I don't know. This is always frustrating to me, and I need to stop spending so much time on it, I guess. But I'm just like, tell me. It's at least not as egregious as the FishWife's one. I'm not over that. I'm never going to get over that. $14.99. Anyway, they let us know that it's about 50-50 people buying the brake kits or buying the boards, and this gives us a great line from Charlie that killed me.
And honestly, I'd kind of like to sell the whole board because you make more money when you sell the board too.
Can I ask a question?
They had opened up for pre-sale 2 months before they filmed Shark Tank, and they'd done $150,000 in sales, and were planning to finish the year at $600,000. So then, of course, the Sharks want to dig into who these guys are. They talk about all their credentials. I'm not going to do that because I don't care enough. What's more important to me is that Carson is 22, Charlie is 23, and Chris is 27. Like, they're all so young. I mean, I'm 28, so me and Chris are about the same age, but 22, wild, and it gets wilder. Pretty much how this business got funded is that Charlie's always been kind of a little entrepreneur since he was a kid, and he had some sort of photography drone business he was running where he was doing like $15 million in sales or something like that, and sold the company. Then he wanted to get into this and invested $1.2 million to make this happen. A lot of that money went to him just calling people up, anybody he could find who is successfully making brakes like this, and buying their patents off of them. And that led to a total of $450,000 being spent. Wild amount of money. Again, this kid is 23. Anyway.
Dang, Charlie, you all in. Pump your brakes.
Mark is immediately interested and offers the guys $250,000 for 15%.
Why do you want 15 instead of 10?
Because you asked for 10, and so I figure I have to ask for 15.
Okay.
But Charlie is ready to play some ball, and by ball, I mean do some counter offers. He first tries upping the money to $350,000 for the 15%. Mark's like, no, I see what you're doing there. I'll do $250,000 for 12%. And Charlie's like, okay, I hear you. $265,000 for 12%. And Mark's like, no, I'll do $250,000 for 12%. And the guys end up making a deal with Mark, and so you for sure know that skateboard is hanging somewhere prominently in his office right as we speak. I know it deep in my bones and soul. Final thoughts, like I said, I do not skateboard, so I am talking about Reddit so much this episode. I don't know why, whatever. I went to the longboarding forum on Reddit and found some people talking about this. It is mixed feelings, opinions. It's kind of hard when you're just reading people's ideas, because some people were talking about how they don't see this being a good or like safe idea when you're going downhill and braking. Other people said that it's like fine if you know what you're doing, I guess, and like the way it breaks is good for whatever. I don't know. A lot of these people, it sound like, haven't even used it. They're just speculating. So there was one person on there who was actually reviewing it, and that's how the thread kind of started. His main complaint was the grip, and I also read that from a couple other people saying that the grip on it just isn't made super well. So most people recommended re-gripping it. But other than that, he didn't really have any major complaints. So I don't know. If you've used it, I would love to know all your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Because, again, a lot of what I was seeing looked like people just kind of talking theoretically about the product and not as if they tried it. So, and while I'm not somebody who actively skateboards, I have tried to skateboard before, and I will say that was always my scariest part about skateboarding, was going downhill and feeling like I wouldn't be able to just stop with my foot. So I feel like having that brake on the back to just kind of slow yourself down even a little bit, not even stop, just kind of make you not going down a hill so fast would be nice. Again, I don't know the safety aspect of it all. That's not what I do. I make videos. And so, truly and deeply, I think my biggest takeaway from all of it was the 23-year-old kid who had invested $1.2 million. That's just wild to me. And having sold a company for $3 million, like, my brain is breaking just even thinking about all that. And so I'm just going to choose to not. Brain is breaking. Breaks. I told you I was filming this late at night, right? Yeah. Our fourth and final pitch of the night is Heather's Choice. Heather walked into the tank looking for $250,000 for 10% of her dehydrated packable meals for camping and on the go. Here it is. They have different flavors for breakfasts and dinners. And then they also sell these little things called packaroons. I don't know exactly what they are. They're like little snacks, I guess. They never really explained it. I tried to go to her website for clarification. Here's a picture of what it looks like if that helps you any. It didn't really help me any. Oh, she calls it a cookie. It looks almost like a Rice Krispie treat. I don't think I would call that a cookie. We're getting on a tangent. We do not need to go back to FishWife style, Morgan. Focus. It is too late at night for this. The packaroons are $2.50 each. Breakfast packs are $8.95, and the dinners range between $12.50 and $15. Her average margin is 75% across all the different products. They sell it direct to consumer, and then they're also in some retail stores like REI. She didn't tell us how much she wholesales it for, though, so don't get that one. In 2022, she made $1 million in sales.
Are you profitable?
Fantastic.
So over the last 9 years, she's raised $1.3 million. And on top of that, she is $1 million worth of debt. So for starters, Kevin wants to know how they aren't profitable when their margin is 75%. And she says that their biggest issue is that they manufacture it in Alaska, which is where she lives. Obviously, this leads Kevin to ask, why does it have to be manufactured in Alaska? Why not go to a co-packer where you could maybe do some of this cheaper? She said she tried the co-packer route, but overall she's always been disappointed with the quality. However, she has decided to move her manufacturing to the lower 48. And she says once they're able to do that, the gross margin will be closer to 80%. There is a large part of this pitch that I am just going to kind of generally breeze over because I don't want to talk about it, honestly. And so, like, if you really want to see it, you're just going to have to go. But pretty much, she's just talking about how, like, she's really beat down and burnt out by this business and that raising money during this round of investment she's been trying to do has been really hard. She's been having a lot of people tell her that they like the product, but she needs a path to get it to $50 million. And they don't see that, and so they're not investing, and she just feels like she just keeps getting no's. And on top of all of this, we find out the day before they were filming, she wasn't able to make payroll. So she is crying. We already know she's $1 million in debt. This whole portion, it was very upsetting, and so that is that. That's what happened. And we're moving on. After all this, it leads to the sharks going out one by one, and they all give pretty similar feedback. Kevin feels like she needs to start figuring out that path to $50 million because that's just kind of standard, apparently, with these food businesses. And he says that's not something he can really help her with. That's something she's going to have to figure out on her own. And until she has all that sorted out, it's just not something he can invest in. So he's out. Candace, again, like I said, they all had similar feelings. She also just thinks in general, there's just too many issues that Heather needs to sit down and sort out before taking on more money and all of that. Lori then switches it up a little and asks her if the problem is just that she hasn't had the right people around her. But she says that her team is fantastic. Her biggest issue is not having enough capital.
I'm sorry, I just don't see that. You've raised how much in total, including debt?
Including debt, 2.3.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Mark thinks what her real problem is that she's just too much in her own head and trying to control so much that it's making her miss out on different opportunities that could help grow the brand. And she needs to work on fixing that. And until she does, he's out. Damon says that he totally understands where she's coming from. He too had a time where he was almost homeless because he was betting on his business. And he says, well, he'd never not bet on her. It's just not investable for him. And lastly, we have Lori, who says it's not investable for her either. And Heather leaves the tank without a deal. Final thoughts. I mean, we'll just have to start with the not being able to make payroll thing. I mean, that's heartbreaking for all her employees and all that. It's hard to hear, and it's just one of those things where, I don't know, I'm with Mark, like, where did all the, like, I don't even feel like ask her enough about, like, where did that money go? That's just so much money, and I'm just with them. I just don't understand what is preventing her from making this a profitable, thriving business. Onto a lighter part, something I thought was really funny was at the very beginning, she says that she's like, I just assume that none of y'all have been camping or hiking, and I think that's so funny because Damon is always the one who talks about how he's the outdoorsy shark and he does all of that sort of stuff, and it's always really funny to me when somebody comes in and just like doesn't know that stuff about the sharks. But then I remember that I have a problem and I'm too deep in all this lore and not everybody else is brain poisoned. Like, I am so bad, not brain poison. I told y'all the later it would get a little, I'm doing my best. It is 1 a.m., which it might not be late for you, but that is late. That's very late for me. Anyway, on that same note, when Lori's going out, Lori, once again, is like, I just think this is so amazing, and I don't think there's anything like it. It's like Lori with the reading games thing. And it's not just Lori, other sharks do it all the time, but it's just always so funny to me when they just have, like, no idea. And I'm not saying all the sharks need to be an expert in every field and know about every type of product there is out there, but I just don't even know why she would make it such a big point to be like, oh, I think this is so amazing because there's nothing else like it, when you don't know. Like, I was sitting there like, I feel like there's probably something like it, and there are all those types of camping meals. I think one of the main things they might say is different is it looks like her meals are dehydrated, and a lot of the other ones I saw when I was looking them up were freeze-dried. A lot of them also were cheaper. Again, though, I don't know the quality. I once again turned to handy dandy Reddit and saw some people talking about the quality, but again, it was kind of like a FishWives thing where it's like kind of how you feel about how it tastes is very subjective. So I'm also just still really scarred from Lori being like, are you the only reading game? Then as far as the pricing goes, like I said, she's not the only one out there, and there are a lot that are priced cheaper. But again, it's all kind of subjective. It may be worth it to you to spend a little more if you think they taste better. I have no idea because I've never tried an MRE style meal, I think, at all. I can't confirm, but I don't think I have. And the final little piece I have about Reddit, since this video was clearly sponsored by them, is Heather may have been in the subreddit about her episode of Shark Tank. Somebody had commented and was like, LOL, she definitely came in for a Hail Mary. This was probably filmed last spring or summer, I'm pretty sure. If she was missing payroll by then, she's probably gone by now. And the next comment under it says, still here. And people are like, is that you? Like, want to give us an update? That is literally the only post that user has ever made. They joined in 2022 in November, and it was the only post that I saw or comment or anything. So I have no way to know if it's Heather or not, because it could just be somebody who's a fan of it saying still here. I have no idea. I'm just saying. I'm just reporting what I've seen. Overall, though, just really downer vibes for the very last pitch. I feel like maybe this should have been in the middle somewhere, because I just, like, hearing all the things she said were just, it was just a lot. It was just a lot. And now I'm having to end it on a downer. So, like, this is my issue, right? Yeah. I need to go to bed. And that, my friends, is a wrap on season 15, episode 10 of Shark Tank. I am so glad they are back from their hiatus. That was such a long break, and I was misinformed about when they were coming back, and so that threw my whole life off. So glad we're back. We're back in the swing of things until they take their next break, which will be who knows when, not me, because I don't get that information. If you've liked this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you love talking reality TV, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. Have you tried any of these products that were shown in this episode? Especially the breaks, I really want to hear about that, or the fish, or the food, all of them. I always want to know. If you've tried it, please tell me all about it. And until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. This dog is currently so mad at me. It is so past his bedtime. He is so upset. No, I know. I'm so sorry. I know you're so sleepy. I know. You're just a baby. You're just a baby. You're so brave. Yes, thank you for helping your mama.